Okay. Well, welcome to anybody that's listening or watching, or anybody that catches me later and sees this opening. Um, let's switch to ta-da. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it says I did jury duty. I went to jury duty today. So, evidently, all the cases were done this time, and I guess we have like two courthouses, I guess, in the county, and the one main one normally has a bunch of judges, and there's only one judge for the one that I went to. And then what he said is usually we if there were any cases over here that he'd send us to other to the other judges or whatever other courthouses. But apparently there's no one to send us to, so that means we all got to go home. It took about an hour of waiting. Not too bad actually. Just sitting there, and I was playing on my phone, and got to go home, and I didn't have to. I didn't have to serve on the jury this time. I don't really have a problem with the jury duty thing exactly. It's just that I get really nervous around people, so and it depends on the situation. Like I was able to talk to a couple of people that I was sitting next to, and anyways, I'm sorry I'm drifting. Oh yeah, I was going to. I guess I won't do that until later today, though. Okay, I don't really need to do that, I guess. Okay, so that means you get to watch me fool around this thing for a couple of hours. How about that? Uh, okay. I still need to find a way of getting more people into watching this, and I'm not sure how to do that. I mean, I can't really make it go any faster than it's already going, I guess. I could do like a less when I go off on a tangent and I start talking and jibber jabbering and whatever, um, and I'm not working on something. Well, I got to stop that. I got to make sure that on my break. Hey, Crasher Hole, welcome back to the to the uh, to the stream. And I guess for you, it's about eight. What do we got that? Anyways, it's what, almost nine or something for you there in India, something like that. I don't know for sure, somewhere around there. But yeah, I didn't actually have to go. Well, I mean, I had to go to the jury summons, but I didn't have to. Uh, I didn't get have to get selected for a jury because apparently all the cases were done that day, and there was no one else to send us to. I guess normally they send people to the other courthouse and other judges, but apparently everything was done today, and we didn't have to do that. So I just basically sat around for an hour on my phone while I was waiting. So yeah. Anywho, I am working on my game here, and I've been using ChatGPT. Well, you probably already know this if you've seen a couple of these that I used Grok, and I used ChatGPT originally, and then I did Grok for a while, and then I had X Premium for like 2 months that I used Grok, and realized that really it wasn't worth spending the money for. Even the Premium X account wasn't really serving that much, and so we canceled that, and then so now I'm back to I'm still using both ChatGPT and Grok, but I use Grok for my programming stuff. I use ChatGPT for some story related stuff. It's just mostly because I've been already been working with on some of the stuff here. Uh, it's gonna be one. Yeah, yeah. It's morning right now. Well, it's almost noontime, so right now it's still technically morning though. It's good that that's what you wanted. Yeah. I don't really want to serve on a jury. I mean, I'll do it, of course, because if you're selected, you have to do it. Kind of, it's it's not compulsory. That it is to the fact that if they pick you and if they select you, then you have to go to it, and then you up until a certain age, or unless you can get an excusal, you have to go whenever they summon you. So it just depends on where you're at, how many cases they have, and so on and so forth. Various dealies. So you don't always have to go to jury duty. In fact, when I was living in Oregon, which is a different state, of course, on the west coast of the U.S., I I had like one jury duty call in in like 20 years or something. So or 10 something years. I don't remember exactly. Yeah, 20 years maybe, something like that. Okay, well, have a nice dinner, and I'll see you when next time you pop in. So, glad to have you. Anyways, let's get to work. Let me go to my history here. Choose your adventure loop funnel. Anyways, for anybody that's listening or is watching the stream after the fact or whatever, uh, ChatGPT may be better for code than Grok, or vice versa. I don't know. All I know is I've been using Grok to help me with some of my coding, and then ChatGPT, I'm mostly doing story stuff here. So, anyways, what do we got? Later on, spellcast route, mailbox route, and um, I actually have the whole um, I have the whole conversation in my notes, and so let's see what was I doing here? How is this working? Um, Here picks John, finds out he works at the library with his mom. Every day goes by his favorite candy bar. One bar figures to send the ticket via the candy bar. Um, okay, so in a way, I knew a lot of what I was doing. I was figuring out the ways that first, the thing about the unicorn sign language book, I give it, I make it a scene. In fact, it'll probably be in this one. Actually, what does 6 say? Daniel. Okay, so this is where he picks John. Okay, I get it. So after he picks John, he picks John. Um, so in this section, I was going to do the thing about the foreshadowing of the Unicorn Sign Language book, and so what what will happen is he'll try to do something with his magic, maybe. Um, I gotta remember too the way the magic works here. Hubert's magic or Harold's magic. I might still call him Harold. I'm still leaning towards going back to Harold again. I don't care if it is Harry Potter. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and leave that joke in. The joke's gonna be that he has the exact same name as Harry Potter, except for he calls himself Harold, and in this case he calls himself halfway Harold because he has only half of his magic. And you won't. I won't actually say his last name, but I'll say it kind of rhymes with something that rhymes with Potter, so that I'm not actually actively copying Harry Potter. It was meant to be kind of an in joke, anyways. And I suppose, very, very basically, that the name Harold was in my head because of Harry Potter. Because I started this story here around 2005. Honestly, I should have made a game by now, but you know, I'm doing it now, so I guess you know, whatever, right? Okay, so this is where we foreshadow that, and then Okay, so and then this is like this is going to be the second half. This second half of the deal. Uh, and actually, the hats on his desk are going to be there in the other scene because he's got it. Like I said, his magic is hat magic, is what it is. So basically, he has to wear a combination of. I might limit it to just 3 hats at a time, from like what however many hats he's got in his room, in his hat room. Which is, there's thousands of hats, and and thousands of combinations. But I'm really picking up that idea from Loom, like a draft, a spell basically uh, that has to do with notes in a certain order, and so I'm going to do kind of the same thing with the magic here. He's got to place the right 3 hats in the right order on his head in order to be able to speak the correct magic words that will enable the spell. Um, so this first daily Hebert Home 7 here now, is going to be where he attempts to use his magic for something, a little something, and game dev. Skeletor in game dev on Liberia.chat is asking me what my dream game is. And it lands. Um, it's going to be a fully interactive point and click adventure game, starting off as a choose your own adventure style. Um, and evolving in phases. I call it my dream game because it's what I was wanting to make most of my life, so to speak. I should say most of my career, or most of when I started. Isn't most of my life, like when I was a kid. I didn't. When I was a teen though and started programming, I wanted to make adventure games. I wanted to make so. Because I've been wanting to make this since 2005 and started and stopped numerous times. Meant to say a choose your own adventure style game. Since CYOAs, the game books, are the simplest form of adventure. This phase won't strictly be a full CYOA game because it won't have various ends, including dead ends and a successful ending. Um, multiple endings. and it won't have loops. Why you never make it with software that focuses on such genre like Adventure Creator or something similar? Just okay. So this guy in IRC is asking me what my dream game was, and I said what it was, and then I said, you know, starting off with Choose Your Own Adventure, eventually culminating into a fully interactive point-and-click adventure game. Now he's asking me why I don't use a specific adventure game software. Adventure Creator, I think Adventure Creator, is that the Unity one? Is that what the point-and-click devlog guy, Adam Bunker, you know, the Big Boss incident? His was his was Adventure Creator in Unity. I think it's Unity. I'm not sure. Anyways, yeah, there's Visionaire and there's I could uh, Adventure Game Studio, which is I was going to at one point use that and like do like a prequel or a backstory kind of a deal. And I even tried a couple of times to start, and it just never worked. So he's asking me why I don't do that. I have certain problems visualizing visualize uh, problem visualizing things. Um, I wanted to do this in a way that makes it simpler for my brain to handle. So yeah, like I could just make the film finish thing, and I don't have to do these phases or anything like that. But um, here, give me a second. Let me see something. Hold on a second. Um, just a moment. Let me do something. Okay, we're back. I had to check something. Doing okay. My mom just texted me, and I'm actually gonna put this over here on the edge here, just so I can reach it without. My desktop is like cluttered, like super cluttered. But it isn't just that. It's that I got this other TV and it's widescreen, so it can't go vertical. Uh, I have this really huge monitor, which I like a lot, but it leaves a little room on my desk. And then I got my graphics tablet over here, which I haven't really used in a while, but my desk is kind of crowded. I don't use a keyboard drawer because I find that those were very annoying back whenever I have a desk that had it. You end up pushing in your you end up pushing in your keyboard under your desk, and if you pull it out and you leave it out, then you're farther away from your monitor. And I like to be kind of up close to my monitor, sort of, you know. And so my desk doesn't have that much room, even though it's kind of wide and stuff. It makes more structured. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be able to finish the game. Plus, it makes it a little more conducive to showing progress. Although this first phase is taking an awful long time. Okay, and what was I going to do? What? What's going? What? This? Oh, okay. Game designers, game dev. No, no. So yeah, a normal person would probably go and they would find a adventure game like creator of some sort, either a standalone program or something that plugs into, for instance, Godot. Although I don't know, Godot doesn't really have any real adventure game deals. Um, anyways, part of this is just it makes it easier for me to comprehend certain things. You know, um, you have this big project and you have these rooms, and one of the things you have to do is you have to create the system first. So that'd be the system. Okay. So first, either you can use an adventure game creator. That's fine. I just find whenever I tried to make this game or whenever I tried to make an adventure game, I couldn't finish it. I couldn't. I get started. I do a couple of things. I get stuck somewhere, and usually it had to do with the programming. And then I'd shelve it for a while, and this game just kept coming back. I kept trying to redo it. In fact, in 2019, or up until 2019, I was working on this game, but I really wasn't working on it. I made 600 plus videos showing me doing everything from going through tutorials, sketching stuff, going through, some other things. I played around with Blender, trying to make a throne room in Blender because in the game, the castle where the king actually rules from is turned into administration, so it actually administers the um, the resort. So it manages the resort there, and so the throne room is turned into like a boardroom with the king's throne at the head, and then the long table with the other chairs. Where they all do have meetings and stuff, and then you have various departments. Those handling the tickets, handling the accommodations, transportation. Um, you know, typical like resort things, like you go to Disney World or something, and or Universal, and um, so everything's handled there in the castle, and then so I was trying to model the throne room, and I'm not very good at modeling, to be honest. I've only done like a scant little of it, so I can make my way around in Blender a little bit. I know how to basically use certain tools and stuff. I'm not a modeler by any means, though, and so it took me some time, and so I'd make these. Okay, then I'd make these videos, and video editing takes forever. So if you're trying to produce lots of content, the guys that can really produce the content are these guys that tell you how to make money or tell you how to do this and that and the other thing. They come up with these scripts, and they'll have like four of them, especially the political commentators. If you're a political commentator, you have no shortage of material to draw from. So you can just make, you know, you have the news story, and then you talk about your views and what other people said. While it's still a lot of work, that it's more manageable to do several videos a day or several videos a week, and um, so that's takes um, that's pretty good. When you're doing what I was doing, um, first it would take me forever just to edit anything. I still don't know how to edit really good. Um, so I have this footage of me doing stuff that I recorded, and then I'd have to edit it into something. And eventually, I just got to the point of where I got tired of doing it. You know, I didn't want to do the editing thing anymore because it just takes forever. And so I came upon the idea of maybe just creating a video where I talked about it, and while I literally played it in say VLC in the background, and I usually sped it up to 2 or 3 times, and I just talk about it, and those videos are really horribly boring. The tutorial videos were boring. Everything's boring, and I wasn't making any progress on the game at all. I was just kind of spinning my wheels. So what have you made in general? Not a lot. Uh, all the stuff I did was old, and I have a ton of started projects that never got to a finished state. So I'm not successful by any means. Okay, so yeah, so I did these 600 videos, and a lot of these YouTubers back then were saying all you have to do, you have to make tons of videos, and at first, and then eventually people will start watching it. Well, I made 600 dang videos, and I was like doing them almost every weekday and almost every day. It's like I did several videos, and they all sucked, to be honest. I mean, I know why people didn't watch them, and people didn't watch them later. I don't care how long it was. In fact, it's been since 2019. It's been 5 years, uh, 6 years or whatever, and still they haven't got much more views than they did when I was making them. So I figured that wasn't the way, and I figured, well, the only thing people really do they like time lapse videos, and they kind of like obviously you like the entertainment ones. You watch the entertainment ones where it's, say, I made Fly Paper, but it's a first person shooter or something, or I made Super Mario Brothers in 1 hour or something dumb like that. And those they usually do them. They're entertaining. They put a bunch of memes. They put stupid jokes in them. Uh, they're much less about how things work. Then you got the guys that are doing actual devlog, and these guys are the serious ones. They usually get pretty good following, and most of their videos seem kind of like professional and well done, basically. Which I'm not doing. I'm not gonna do well done videos. Not that isn't to say that I would never be able to do it. I'd have to specifically, work toward it. And I still have to get a handle on what to record and how to edit it, so I can edit in a reasonable amount of time. And then some of these guys, they'll do, maybe they'll do it monthly. They'll have a monthly update or something. Um, I've seen ones that weren't. Um, they could be once a week or something. They could be a shorter time period, but somehow they manage to show you what they're doing, and they're kind of good at it. I'm not that good at it. Whatever. Um, so what was I getting to? I don't even know what I was doing. Oh yeah. Okay, and then again to see if I can do this really shortly so I can actually get back to making the game. But there's so much competition out there. Like it's like I almost shouldn't even compete, right? There's so many free games you can get. There's abandonware, which is a legal gray area, but I'm just saying, if you wanted to, you could get those games. You can get there's all these different Epic, uh, not Epic, yeah, Epic games, Epic Game Store, and GOG, and all these guys. They're always doing giveaways at certain times, and you might want to compete to get your game on Steam. You get it early, you get it wishlisted, and there's a lot of rigmarole and stuff, and there's a lot of competition for that. You have to do a lot of marketing, so on and so forth. And I figured the guys that were making decent money were the guys that were actual YouTubers first, really, rather than game developers. The good game developers and the good devlog makers, there are some of them like Thin Matrix and stuff, and there's a couple of others that are they're just really good at what they're doing. For some reason, they're able to do it, and they get a recent amount of subscribers and a decent amount of views on their videos. That's cool. But anyways, so I was going. Okay, so I the point is of me trying to do YouTube, but at the same time to make this game, and hopefully somebody will like me enough to support me. Eventually, maybe I can get my internet paid. I'm not expecting to live off of anything, at least not, not unless I get really popular for some reason. I go viral, which is probably not going to happen. But so I figured, why do I need the stress of trying to learn marketing, trying to learn business, and all this stuff? Maybe I'll just eventually give it away for free, and I'm pretty much thinking I'm still doing that. I'm still giving away stuff for free. And I was also disappointed with Double Fine Adventure documentary, which became Broken Age. That's the Tim Schafer one. Day of the Tentacle, that guy. Or wait a minute, yeah, Tim Schafer. Tim Schafer. I'm thinking of Double Fine Productions. Yeah, Tim Schafer. He worked on Day of the Tentacle, and he worked on a couple of other LucasArts things, and so he had that successful $3 million Kickstarter. Eventually found out that even that was enough to produce the first half of his game, and then I guess they waited until they got more pre-sales or something before they finished the second half, and eventually I got the full game, and I got the documentary, and the documentary doesn't show you crap, and so I'm gonna, well, you know what? Why don't I just do this thing? Why don't I see if I can make the YouTube thing work? Um, Originally, it wasn't even going to be streaming. It was going to be videos of my development, just like that devlogs, like the rest of them do. Um, but so I figured, why to stress out about that? If I want to get this game done, I want to see if I can make the YouTube thing work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the game. I'm probably going to give it away for free, and I'm going to show all the spoilers and everything, all the behind the scenes stuff, like how do I get from the beginning to a finished game. Um, of course, I haven't finished many games. I finished a few games that I completely finished. I haven't really actually finished any adventure games. I've made a couple of basic adventure sort of games. I haven't really done that much, so I'm not like some like award-winning, game developer or some team that's that has a string of successes and are commercial and all this stuff. I'm just a guy. I'm basically a hobbyist. I'm above hobbyist, but still hobbyist because I'm not making any money or anything with it. But I said the one thing that I can do is I can show you everything that goes into it. So you're gonna get the whole full spoilers. In fact, I just uploaded the update number 23, which shows the whole plot outline of the whole story of the game. So you'll pretty much know everything that's in the game if you watch that video. And it's about 13 minutes. You might find it boring, which is okay. But you have still made something if you're making point and click adventure. Just give me a second. What was I? Was I typing in anything? What's the deal here? Okay, whatever. Just give me a second. Do you mean progress on the game? Like, how far have I gotten? He wants to know some stuff I've done, and actually all my stuff is old stuff, and you can't play it hardly anymore anyways. I have a game that runs in Windows 95 with 256 color 8-bit graphics, and you can't run it on any modern version of Windows. You can probably emulate it. Like I could probably make a virtual machine and install Windows 95 on it, and all the DirectX and all that stuff. So I could probably actually run something through there. But as far as any finished stuff lately, nah, not really. My last finished thing was, I think, some stupid thing in Flash, way back when, 10 years ago or something. I don't know how many years ago. Quite a bit, quite a bit of time ago. So, yeah, so this is what I'm doing. Anyways, but let's get back to this, to the game. And at this point, uh, let's see. Have the whole plot outline done, and I turned the events into pages. Technically called rooms because they'll eventually be what you think of as a room. But since this is CYOA style, this is a CYOA style, there are a bunch of pages of screens. There are 93 different pages or rooms. And right now I'm at the point where I'm trying to put in decision points. So 2 locations. So maybe I've only got like 10% done of that. In any case, you can watch me on stream, and if I get to actually work, you'll see where I'm at and what my progress is. Okay, so there's a Meta Yeti saying, "Let's talk more game deving." Cracks whip. Yeah, I agree. I need to get to work. Get to work. Okay. So, all right. So, I'm not going to go ahead and go through the whole story again from the first point to this right this second. I'll probably go over it several times as I go on. Different times I'll say stuff. Just today, I'm not going to do that. What I am going to tell you is where I am in the story right now. So right now, okay. So Hubert was the friend and chief advisor to the king, and he's a wizard, and half of his magic was stolen. Like literally 50% of his magic is gone. So it results in some messed up things when he tries to cast a magic spell. And so okay, so okay. Sorry, I got allergies and my nose is acting up again, and so I'm gonna be rubbing it and sniffing and you know looking like I'm on drugs or something. But I show you the strongest drug I'm ever on is caffeine. Is my coffee. That's the strongest thing that I've ever taken, ever done. Haven't smoked. I've drank very little. I've drank alcohol before, but I don't drink at all. I don't like the taste of alcohol. Occasionally, I like the uh, apricot flavored brandy or something. Something. Uh, anyways, but I don't drink mostly ever. I never smoked. I never did any drugs or anything. Unless you consider Tylenol, and I don't take very much Tylenol, so or Benadryl. I don't take very much Benadryl either. In fact, I don't do it that much more, hardly at all anymore, because I don't like the way it makes you feel. Antihistamines make you feel groggy all day. Anyways, you have to forgive me for rubbing my nose all the time. I'm gonna try not to do it. Okay, so Hubert needs a way to send a. Okay, so he's going out to he's looking at other realms to find somebody to help him figure out what's happened to the lands. Okay, so like all the major schools closed down. Okay, so basically Enchanted Lands, this is a resort. It was a Magic Kingdom that was turned into a resort. Um, and then to make ends meet. And so they open these schools, and you can become a knight, you can slay a dragon, you can become a princess, fairy godmother, or a wizard if you want to, or you can just come to stay at one of the hotels, just a relaxing weekend or whatever. But this is for like the ridiculously wealthy, right? Insanely, incredibly wealthy, and they send. Okay, so Hubert's half of Hubert's magic is gone, is been stolen or taken, and so he needs a way to he needs to get this external help. He needs to find it, and then he needs to get this person to Enchanted Lands, and the only way to do that is with a Quicksilver ticket. He needs some Quicksilver on his person. He needs to say some magic words, and this is kind of how it works. And a portal opens, and you can step into Enchanted Lands. Usually, they step onto a flying train, and then are brought into the administration castle, and the castle's sitting in the clouds. And so then they go through induction. They go in, pay their money, or what? They already pay their money, but give them the tickets. They get accommodations, they get whatever, and then they get sent down to the surface from the castle in another flying train on the other side of the castle, whatever. And so I needed a way for Hubert to be able to give him this ticket, or to somehow get him into Enchanted Lands, but without using his magic, because his magic doesn't work right most of the time. He's got half of his magic. If he tries to summon something that's the two of something, he only gets one of them. If he tries to teleport something part of the way, a certain distance, it only works half of the distance. That sort of thing. It's supposed to be. It's. I guess I meant it to be funny, where literally everything is 50%. So whatever happens, he gets 50%, and you don't know what 50% is going to be. If you summon a glass of orange juice, it would be half a glass of orange juice, but you don't know if he gets the top half or he gets the bottom half. If he gets the bottom half, the worst that can happen is that you only get half a glass. If it's the top half, then you get a big mess, right? That sort of thing. So I came up with this method, and then I realized I didn't have a method to, like, how do tourists actually get into Enchanted Lands? How do they get their tickets? Right? They paid all this money. I did come up with a method where they have like their travel agents that go into different realms, and they sell these tickets, and so this person gives them a bunch of money, and then they leave, and then a couple days later they'll get their tickets in some form under their hotel door, in their own mailbox, on their desk, wherever it's sent. And so I had to come up with a way of how does it get to them? So I figured, well, there's enchanted mailboxes, right? I mean, that's kind of simple. You stick it in there, you tell it where you want it to go, and it goes exactly by magic, exactly where it needs to go. So here's a magic mailbox. That's great. So I had this thing written. He uses the magic mailbox, and then sends it to John through his favorite candy bar wrapper, so that his candy bar ends up with the silver ticket in it. In fact, there was a joke there, and I don't think I created the silver ticket in reference to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, because Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, or Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory of the movie, where he sends out these golden tickets, right, in the candy bars, and these kids come in And of course Charlie, he's like super poor, and but he's one of the ones that gets the golden ticket. And so Quicksilver is the mineral that Enchantment runs on. So I figure, I could build this into like a pun or like a joke here. Um, yeah. Um, Skeletor doesn't want to look at my live stream for some reason, or you're in here and you can see this. This isn't the game though. This is the editor where I can actually lay out my game. I can create rooms and stuff. Anyways, so I came up with the magic mailbox thing. He could use the magic mailbox, and so when I get to it, I'm looking at this narrative and I'm kind of going, okay, well he does that, and then John gets the ticket, and then he opens the portal, and then he gets in Enchanted Lands, and I'm kind of going, well, this isn't very interesting. This is just straight up linear, and it's all supposed to be linear. It's a story. I'm trying to tell a story, but there's some non-linear elements so that you can play different parts at different times. You don't have to. You don't have to finish one for the other. There's going to be puzzles and things where you could go to different. You try to solve different puzzles at different times if you want. Obviously, there's some stuff that would um, obviously there is what was I saying? Anyways, I'm losing what I'm saying. I got ADHD. I'm operating on less sleep than usual. Although last night I did get a pretty good amount of sleep compared to normal. But anyways, so he couldn't use his magic. But as I was looking at it, I was kind of going, "That's not going to be very interesting." I mean, there's not a gameplay here. It's just linear, and the idea is the gameplay comes in between the story beats. And I was thinking, well, he does this thing and then he sends the mailbox, and it's pretty much linear, and I'm kind of going, you're gonna be playing Hubert, you're gonna be playing John, you're gonna be playing a couple other characters, and I need to make some interesting choices in here. So what I decided to do is said, okay, I'm gonna figure out a way he can use his magic in order to get the ticket to John, and I did come up with that. And so my solution was that he does a couple of different spells that partly work, but together they'll eventually get to where he needs to go. All John needs is a bit of Quicksilver, so it doesn't have to be a ticket. It could be a coin. It could be thread sewn into your shirt. It could be anything, anything that you could make, put that metal into. In this case, it's a ticket. So he tries to teleport a ticket to him. Um, and he only gets half the ticket. And because of that, he doesn't get all the words he needs to say, all the magic words to say in order for the portal to open. So so then Hubert's got to find a different way of sending him either another ticket or different words or whatever. And so one of the things he does is what I call, and I just made this up, so it's not, I don't know, maybe it's not very good, but what I called a clone conjure spell, which basically you conjure up something in front of you, and then but you can also make a clone of it elsewhere. Okay, and it looks like the rain is really coming down, and so it's very possible that my power could go out. If it does, then my stream goes out, and that will be it for the day. So so yeah, so hopefully that doesn't happen. The way the way things are around here, just a breeze sometimes can knock the dang power out. So I don't know if I'll be streaming here for very long. In any case, um, so I figured, okay, so he does this conjure thing, and what happens is, a Quicksilver ticket ends up where John is. At one point it disappears or whatever, or it doesn't work or something. But So he gets this ticket, and the ticket doesn't have any Quicksilver in it. It's just the ticket. So if he says the words, they don't really mean much. But if he's holding on to the Quicksilver fragment, and he says the words, and now he has the whole words. Now a portal can open. So I figured that's the way that you can do it, and then so that could be there. But then I thought for a second, and I went, um, you knowing that your magic isn't 100% isn't gonna work right. Why would you not just use the mailbox? And so I'm thinking, okay, so what would be a good reason that he would want to use a spell instead of using the mailbox? Well, the mailbox is reliable, so but maybe it's slow. I figured maybe it takes a day to get to its destination, and the spell thing is instant. So we're thinking from the narrative tonight. We're thinking from the story, purely from the story, not from the player's perspective. But Hubert uh, would send something through the mail, but he'd be impatient. Why? Because um, he's impatient because he needs to solve the mystery of what's happening to Enchanted Lands before whatever final plans the villain has. He doesn't even really know if there's a villain in there. He knows there's this mysterious guy named Maximilians, which okay, so the names aren't that great. Maximilians and Maximilian spell um, aren't original names. Maximilian, what's his name? Schnell. If you ever watched the Disney movie, The Black Hole, from like 1980 or something, 1981. I don't know, somewhere in the early 80s. Uh, Maximilian Schnell, I think is the last name. Anyway, something like that. He played he plays the kind of Captain Nemo character. The black hole is supposed to be sort of like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, but in space. And so the captain of the ship of this ship is kind of nuts, but the actor is this German actor, I think German or Austrian, anyways. And so I just thought, Maximilian Spell, that's his name, is Maximilian Spell, because he's a wizard, and wizards cast spells, but he's a dark wizard, right? Anyways, and then he goes under assumed name Maximilians, and of course that's kind of dumb sounding too, right? Maximilians. I mean, he's going to be. The idea is that he's super rich and stuff. And in fact, Maximilians comes in. Max comes in and he buys enchanted lands from the king, who gladly sells it to him for whatever reason. And Hubert knows that the king would never sell to him, so something must be wrong with the king. Like he must be under enchantment, or something must have happened to him. Um, and in this case, I don't know if I reveal in the story that he's been replaced or not. But there's a false king there now. So Hubert's got to uh, Hubert's got to get. He figures he needs some external help, and so that's why he is doing that. So anyways, so we're at the point of where okay, so he's doing the spell. And I'm kind of going. Okay, so what's his motivation for even choosing the spell choice? Why would the character choose that? Well, he'd go, my magic is faulty. I'll do the reliable way, even though it's slow. But he's also impatient. So there's an element of him being impatient to see before Max comes in and further destroys it, and before Max's full plans are revealed. And I know I said I'd go ahead and say spoilers. At this point, I'm not going to say spoiler just today, just in the stream. If you go and look at update number 23, you'll have the whole outline there, and you'll see Max's full plans. You'll see what happens. So it's not like I'm keeping it from you, because I'm not keeping it from anybody. I'm just, for the sake of this discussion, just for today, just for this discussion, I'm not telling you what Max's ultimate plans are. So, but he knows that there's something bad is going to happen because of the way things have been going. Schools have been closed down. Dragons are terrorizing villages. The knights are training for real with real combat with real weapons, not enchanted, not for fun, but actually military type training. Most of the hotels and restaurants are closed up, and except for the Grand Enchanted Landian, which is actually not taking any guests, even though it's open. So you can like go to the lobby and you can kind of look around, and there's going to be some stuff in there. The idea was that they stopped taking guests at some point and gradually just made it more uh, unfriendly, like you wouldn't want to go there. So they don't really have any guests in there. Um, Technically, any guests in there. Officially, they may, or should I say it the other way around? They don't officially have guests in there. Technically, they have. Anyways, it's kind of a makeshift headquarters for the bad guys, basically. And so he's no, there's time is of the essence here. So he needs to get somebody in. He needs an external pair of eyes that will help him. That's not part of the system. He does have one or two people that he can trust. Princess Karen, he'll be able to trust just because she's subject of kidnapping by Max or hit by his henchmen, and so I'm kind of going, okay. So one of the reasons that he's going to do it is it's super urgent. He needs to do it now, so he needs to get a way to do it now. So that's really the whole reason why the character does it, right? So the character motivation is that he needs to do it now. He needs to do it fast, right? He chooses the mail because it's reliable, super reliable, and nothing can go funky with it. John will just get the ticket. He'll be able to use it, no problem. But there I had to give a thing of why it's maybe not necessarily the best thing to use. So mailbox is slow, kind of like snail mail is to email, right? Um, Email things can go wrong, more wrong than with snail mail. Doesn't mean things can't go wrong with snail mail, but with email, you have data being lost. You have computers going down for whatever reasons. You have, you know, old address. Somebody doesn't have their password anymore. There's just like, oh, that was thunder. I don't know if you could hear that with the noise suppression on, but I just got a big crack of thunder here. So I might not have that much further with you today. Um, but anyways, I might after the rain stopped, maybe later. I would do another stream. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a super secret stream tonight. Um, I, I I I don't know for sure what I want to do just yet. But anyways, okay. So at this point, so he's got these two choices. So he can either do it instantly because it's really urgent, or he can use reliable, and that things won't go funky. Oh yeah, I was just trying to compare that to email versus snail mail. So email, a lot of things can happen. You need power for the email to go through, right? You need the computer system up. There's several, there's lots of weird things that can happen with digital. That isn't to say the snail mail is like perfect necessarily. You sent mail can get lost. It can. It takes time, obviously, because it physically moves from place to place. Um, if you don't have fuel for your vehicles, or machinery, electricity is gone, whatever. But with the mail, um, there's still more you can do with mail. If you had to, you could go by Pony Express. You could go by horse if you needed to. Physical pieces of paper, as long as somebody kept them safe and they could ride to the wherever your destination is, at least you could still get mail. If the entire electrical grid went down, you could still get physical mail. I mean, you could still there'd be still a method to transport stuff, even when you didn't have electricity or fuel. Uh, and it's even like for instance, like records, or even cassettes. Well, not really cassettes, because cassettes still rely on electronics. from the tape being magnetic to the actual mechanism that turns it on. But let's say a old record album, right? Vinyl record. With the vinyl record, yeah, you can break it, you can scratch it. There's a bunch of stuff that can happen to it. But if all the power went down, you could still play records as long as you had a player that you could crank. You could crank it, you could do it, and then you could still listen. You could still listen to music, right, on a device that's purely like mechanical. So this is what the way I liken this to. So the magic is instant, but there's a lot of weird stuff that can happen that could go wrong. And as long as your magic's good, then everything is good. But when your magic's not good, then any number of problems can happen. With the magic mailbox system, um, it almost never gets interrupted. Now, you literally destroy the mailbox. You know, there'd probably be stuff being that magic is a real thing in this world in this game in the story that you could physically stop enchanted mail from moving, right? But for the most part, it's a reliable way to get something to someone. It's just not the quickest, right? Okay, so we established that, right? I know I'm rambling, and I shouldn't be rambling. It should be working, but so um, so that's Hubert's decision. Now we get to the player. There's also a problem with the player. The player is why wouldn't I just use the mailbox? It's simpler, easier. I know how it works. You stick something in there and it goes to wherever it needs to go, right? You address it, whatever. And in this case, you speak the destination to the mailbox, and the mailbox will magically transport that mail to the destination without you having to cast any spells. So that actually works for Hubert better than doing the spell. But for the player, you're kind of going, well, why wouldn't I choose that? Why would I go through the rigmarole of this kind of almost like a puzzle kind of thing with the whole spell casting thing when I could just use old reliable, I could use simple, right? Well, the thing is okay. There's a couple of things. One is the magic way is going to seem more exciting, more interesting. So, in all fairness, um, you might not think the mailbox thing is very exciting. You might want to know what happens when the magic goes wrong or whatever. So you might be more apt to choose the magic rather than the mailbox version. Before I was under this justification thing, you wouldn't want to go through all the puzzle hassle of solving this big puzzle when you could just put it in the mailbox and there's no puzzle to it. Well, um, now I'm thinking a little bit more the other way, and that is if you're a player of adventure games, you're up for the challenge, even if it's frustrating. That sometimes you still want to do it. So you might be more biased to actually choosing the spell version rather than the mailbox version. Whereas he would be more apt to wanting to choose the mailbox version because his own magic is unreliable. So I came up to this thought that if you go through the mailbox, it's slow. That means I have to delay you. I don't have to delay the player necessarily, but in the story, the narrative, it's got to be delayed. So the idea is John goes home, takes this book home that he saw at the library, the Unicorn Sign Language book, which was hinted at earlier. And then he goes home and he reads it, and then he goes back to work, and then he goes home, walks to this convenience store, he gets his favorite candy bar, his favorite treat for the night that he does every night, which I don't know how you first have the money to buy a candy bar every night, or nor be able to have the constitution to do so. You get super fat and stuff. But maybe he's walking to work each time, so he burns off those calories. Who knows? But so the thought here is that I delay you, or I delay John if Hubert takes the mailbox route. If you choose mailbox, then there's going to be kind of this slice of life thing. There's going to be a day in the life or whatever, and you get to know a little bit more about the Unicorn Sign Language book. Now, however, if you choose the spellcasting deal, you're going to have this kind of almost puzzle to go through. Now, I'm not really doing puzzles in this phase because it's choose your own adventure, so it's not puzzle. But what it is there'll be a few extra choices in how you do the spellcasting, and so the reason the player might want to do the spell casting because it's more exciting. So I still have to hint that the I still have to figure out how to make the mailbox seem a little bit better, like the better choice to a player, and that's what I was kind of doing yesterday. Um, Later on, spellcast route, player chooses chaos and speed. Hubert struggles to get, eventually makes it. We still visit John. He chats with the cashier. Yeah. Okay. So we're hinted at we'll see the actual Unicorn Sign Language book in a brief exchange earlier on um, before Hubert makes the choice. He'll attempt to conjure up a spellbook or to transport a spellbook from from his bookshelf to his desk where he's sitting, and it screws up. So basically, what happens is the something happens. You see an explosion or something, or sees a puff of smoke, and then the Unicorn Sign Language book briefly appears, and then it transforms into this old fairy tale book, which is Beauty and the Beast, I think. Beauty and the Beast, and the idea being that well, the interesting thing is that the time period, because this is not set in a long ago time period. Because Sir William the Unicorn, which is was a knight who was turned into a unicorn by Violet Moonshadow, um, which is Max's companion and kind of like right hand woman, basically. And she turns Sir William into a unicorn, and the idea being that she may have gotten this idea from the Beauty and the Beast book. Now, the only small problem with that, and I only the idea is I only hinted that that's where she got the idea. That's where I got the idea. The idea is he's conceited and stuff, just like in the story of the Beauty and the Beast, and he's turned into a beast, right? He's a man that's turned into a beast. In this case, he's a man that's turned into a unicorn. And then they stick the Black Knight on Sir William because the Black Knight loves unicorn meat. He loves unicorn steaks, and so he's hunted just about everyone there is, and eventually he's put on the trail of Sir William. Anyways, so you see this book briefly. You see this book swap, and you kind of don't know where it is and what's become of it or anything. But then afterwards, John encounters it in his library, and he just thinks it's odd because there's no label on it. There's no Dewey Decimal number, no barcode, nothing to identify it as a library book. So he takes it home and he reads it, and then the next day he leaves it. He conveniently forgets it and leaves it at home, and then when he starts home from work that next day, then he gets the ticket in the wrapper of his favorite candy bar. So that's where we got that, and then what was I saying? Um, So the book is actually setting up something later, because there's a scene later where our heroes, which consist at this time, John Thomas, the halfway Hubert, or halfway Harold as I used to call him, and Princess Karen from Verdance, which is a different realm, and they were chased into Lapswood, and Lapswood is basically sometimes known as the Forgetful Forest, Forest of Forgetfulness, Forest of Fading Thoughts, which is my original name for it, which is sounds kind of dumb now. It sounds kind of goofy, whatever, cringy, I should say, cringy, cheesy, whatever. But Forgetful Forest, basically. So if you end up in the middle of the forest, you start losing your memory, and then pretty soon you're not doing anything because you don't know what you're doing there, what's going on, or anything. So you just stay there. So they're chased into Lapswood, and in the middle of Lapswood, they run into Sir William. He doesn't know who he is yet, and they eventually forget who they are. And oh yeah, so they hit Sir William. At this time, their memories haven't gone that much, so they're still kind of okay in this early time in Lapswood. Um, but John says something like, "Oh yeah, I remember reading a book about unicorn sign language. Maybe I could talk to him." And so he talks to him a little bit. He's able to communicate to Sir William in his unicorn form. And it was just a thing that I thought would be funny to have, like, um it'd be funny to have unicorn sign language, because how do you sign as a unicorn? What do you do with your hoofs? You like kind of do like this and like whatever. And not doesn't to make fun of sign language or people that are deaf or anything like that, but it's just I thought it would be a funny thing, that this unicorn sign language, because it's like it's ridiculous that a unicorn or horse could do sign language, because they can't speak in the first place. But there's this thing. Okay, so this book, right? And book swaps Beauty and the Beast, and also the Beauty and the Beast thing plays in later. It doesn't have anything to do with Sir William necessarily, so that's why I was just kind of, you know, um, I was kind of going, well, this must have been where Violet got her idea from. But anyways, it plays into it later. Later, the Beauty and the Beast book shows up in Fairy God College Library. Um, but this sort of sets it up. So I have to have you be able to see both of them. And the other thing that I thought up to actually do is John chats with the cashier, because he knows him pretty well, because he comes in there every day, and he tells the cashier about the Unicorn Sign Language book. So uh, hinting that John had actually read through the Unicorn Sign Language book when it was in the library. It's just the fact that you don't interact with it in this route. You interact with it in the mailbox side, but in the spellcasting side, you don't really interact with it. So I did this thing to where it still hints at it. So later on, when you come to Sir William, you go, "Oh yeah, I remember that. He actually knows this unicorn sign language because he read this book." And so that's how I solved that. So now we basically have our ingredients of what we need to do here to make this interesting choice. And let's see, book pre-choice event. Yeah, the book swap is a pre-choice event. See, the scene involving the cashier was intended for the spellcasting route because I had no way of informing the player of the book. However, I don't need to do that if I put the book in the swapping scene before the choice. In fact, it works a bit better because the book appears briefly and disappears. You don't see where the books go. They just appear to change from one to the other and then disappear. And then if you choose a mailbox route, you end up seeing what the book is all about and where it ended up in John's realm in his own library. But the spellcast route you will not recall until you attempt to communicate with Sir William later. And I just thought of something else, and that is I can still put the cashier scene in the spellcast route because John should have read the book, so he can make a comment about knowing a bit about unicorn sign language. Okay, so this is where I'm at. Finally up to date, and I haven't done any single stupid work, and now I have about a little over a half hour in order to do anything before my break. So, and that's the way it's been going lately. That could be why I don't have many viewers anymore. Because maybe they pop in and they see me yapping, and then they go, so what? And then they leave. Maybe. Or more than likely, nobody even sees this in the first place, because nobody's clicking anymore. Okay. Yeah, the reason this whole streaming thing, I wasn't going to do streaming originally in the first place. Because I was just going to record game development, and then I was going to, make a devlog about it, just like everybody else does. A couple of people suggested maybe I should stream it, and so I just decided to stream it. I can't do Twitch because my account, I can't recover my account. The password reset never works, and so eventually I did go ahead and create a new account on Twitch, which I thinking maybe I'll try to find a way of streaming to 3 different things. Restream only allows you to stream to 2 different platforms on the free version. So I've been doing YouTube and Rumble, and then Twitch would add a third platform. And to be able to do that, then I probably need to find a plugin that hopefully works with my old version of OBS that allows me to dual stream. And so I'll stream to Restream, and then I'll dual stream to Twitch. But it might have to be in lower bit rate, right? Because now I got shared bit rate. I only have 10 megabit upload speed, which is pretty low, and so you have to split between 2 different things. And when I was talking to Grok about streaming and stuff, it mentioned having overhead, and so I would have to make sure that my bit rate was down, and then I'd have a little bit of overhead. So that might be, I don't know, that might be 3 to 4,000 kilobits per second, kbps, for each stream. Or maybe I could dial back some of the settings on the Twitch, so maybe the Twitch wouldn't get the highest quality, or the vice versa. Maybe Twitch should get the highest quality, and the other two shouldn't get as high of a quality. In any case, I have to make some concession. So either I have to drop Rumble in order to stream to Twitch, or I have to do this dual stream thing and stream it at a lower bitrate. Unless there's some free service out there that allows me to stream to multiple platforms, more than 2 platforms. If I could do that, then I could stream to all 3 without no problem. But anyways, I don't even know why I get onto that. Oh yeah, it's just the fact that I was going to stream originally. I was going to devlog, and so I figured if I'm going to record it anyways, I might as well just go ahead and stream it, and I can still make my deals based off the stream. In this case, I actually recorded little clips at the end of my day to show what I did that day, and then I combined the clips into an update video, which aren't that successful either, right? Because I don't really think that much about thumbnails or titles or anything. It's just straight up, my dream game, phase 1, update number 23 or whatever. So, so I just decided, okay, I'm doing streaming now, and I'm gonna stream every weekday, and that's what I've been doing. Anyways, I don't know even why I told you that. Some reason or other. Someone reacted to me. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so he's going to send the ticket. Now we're going to instead of all of this extra stuff, let's do a new one. Hubert and John. And even though this is not really an event part of it, he's just thinking here. I'm just gonna do this as to be as descriptive as possible, and decides to somehow send uh, a Quicksilver ticket via his favorite candy bar. Okay. Okay, so that's just one. Um, that just makes it a lot simpler. It doesn't matter what he's seen in the deal because I haven't got to the narrative part yet. I'm gonna do a narrative once over, and then maybe I might do like a humor pass afterwards. Maybe this I don't know. This thing is gonna take forever though. The way I'm doing it. I mean, I'm sure other people can make choose your own adventures, and they're rather quickly to put together. You know. At least I assume so. I mean, if you're spending quite a bit of time just coming up just right with your text and stuff, that's one thing. But this is just the sheer number of it is just gonna be. It's gonna take forever just to get this part. The other phases should. That means the other phases should be relatively quick because I don't have to do all this. This is all set up here. This whole story. Anyways, okay. Somehow just decides to somehow send a Quicksilver ticket via his favorite candy bar. Um, okay. Um, maybe. Okay, so I'm also using this little scene, this pre-scene with the book and everything, to also hint at Hubert's magic problem because up until this point you don't know that he has a problem, right? So if he tries to summon anything or he tries to conjure anything up or whatever, um, then I'm somehow I need to kind of hint at the hat system. So maybe even though I haven't put anything for it here, maybe he's wearing several hats, a couple of hats, right? Um, pulling three hats from his head, he rearranges them and puts them back on, and then says some magic words. A puff of smoke I don't know, explodes, appears mid-air, and as it dissipates, a book entitled Unicorn Sign Language or what did I say? Uh, befuddled what did I say? Here, let me open the design notes here. Since this is okay, we have to go all the way down to the bottom first. Or right around here. Chat GPT. So everything in here is kind of like formatted and stuff. See, with colors and icons and stuff. But this is because this is an open document format, not just a text file. Transporting lobster. Okay. Need some more choices. Each use teleportation only gets part of the candy bar. Clone conjure. Partial ticket. Blah blah blah. Being the Beast is missing. Unicorn's language is because of the books to switch. Try to book swap in both routes. Mailbox gives John a chance to, but he knows the cashier mentioned the USL book. Okay. Let's see something here. Flicker in and out. Poof. Player has no idea. Oh yeah, what did I... Box unicorn sign language. I don't know. Let's see something here. Unicorn sign language. Okay, let's go down there. Eventually, unicorn sign language book. Unicorn sign language manual. For diplomatic beginners. I had a thing here. Unicorn sign language for beginners. Where did I put that? For beginners, for beginners. I called it something else. Hmm. Was it here or was it in Grok? Alright, let's open Grok in a new tab here. Okay, let's go to my history. Again, resolving brief browser. And nowhere in here. Dang it, I had it somewhere. Control find unicorn sign language for everyone once. What? There was a thing. There was a. Um. Where's the thing that tells you how many? Which one you're on? Oh well, doesn't say so in here. Okay. Let's check one more thing here. It wasn't Grok. It was ChatGPT. Did I not have a thing? I asked about. Maybe it was on X though. It's X. Might have been on X. Let's go to Grok and let's go to history. No, not there either. I know. I was thinking of let's see something here. Did I ever ask you about the For Dummies books? I mean, it might not be in it might be in a No thanks. I need to find a discussion somewhere, but maybe it wasn't with you. Shoot, it might have been Brave Leo. If it was Brave Leo, then I don't have a copy of it anywheres. Did I ever discuss the For Dummies book series with you? Nope. Doggone it. It must have been. It must have been with the Leo search, and it doesn't have a history on there because I didn't save it or anything. So, all right. It was language. There we go. It was for the B. It wasn't Bemused. Bemused wasn't it. Befuddled, bewildered, and what was it? It was befuddled and bewildered. Oh, befuddled. Whoop. Bewildered beginner. Something like that. I know that's long and I don't know. It sounds dumb. Whatever. I'll just leave it. Appears in its place, and then it flickers and changes to Beauty and the Beast before finally vanishing in another puff of smoke. Okay. Right, let's do something here. Save it. Save it. This is the actual save data here. This is just the save the thing in the editor here. You know what? I'm gonna play it, and I'm gonna bring up the page. So it's 002 Hubert Home 7. Okay. So, switch room to Hubert Home 7. There we go. Hubert picks John and decides to somehow send a Quicksilver ticket via his favorite candy bar. Pulling 3 hats from his head, he rearranges them and puts them back on and says some magic words. A puff of smoke appears in midair as it dissipates. A book entitled Unicorn Sign Language for the Befuddled Bewildered Beginner appears in its place, and then it flickers and changes to Beauty and the Beast before finally vanishing in another puff of smoke. Okay, let's see if I can shorten that a little bit. I have all this room to put text in, but that's not the problem. So let's quit with 0, and let's see something here. Like that. Actually, like that. A book called Unicorn Sign Language for beginners. Appears in mid-air before changing to Beauty and the Beast, then disappears. There, and I'm not gonna retest that. I'm just gonna go ahead and save it and call that good here. Okay. Now, what happened?